Okay, I want you to picture something. A wave, taller than a two-story building, crashing through a major city. Now, what if I told you that wave wasn't made of water, but of thick, sticky molasses? It sounds totally made up, like something from a movie. But back in 1919, for the city of Boston, this was a very, very real and deadly nightmare. So to really get our heads around this story, we're actually not going to start back in 1919. Nope. We're going to start today with a really strange, kind of lingering mystery that still hangs in the air of Boston's North End. It's a weird question, right? Can a street smell like a memory? I mean, we usually think of smells like food cooking or flowers, or maybe that smell of rain on hot pavement. But could a disaster leave a scar on a city so deep that you can still, well, smell it? A scent that sticks around for more than 100 years? Well, that's the local legend in Boston. People say that on really hot summer days, there's this one street that still smells faintly of sweet molasses. It's like this phantom sweetness just hanging in the air. And to figure out why, we've got to go back in time. All right, so how did this whole thing even start? Well, to find the source of this bizarre flood, we have to look at one single massive structure that just dominated the Boston waterfront back in 1919. So the story really kicks off with this one colossal tank. And when I say colossal, I mean it. This thing was planted right in the middle of the city. This wasn't some industrial park either. It was an enormous steel container, kind of like a silent giant, just sitting there in a busy, working-class neighborhood packed with homes, shops, and even a fire station. And inside this tank, an almost unbelievable amount of thick, dark, raw molasses. We're talking 8.7 million liters. To give you some perspective, that's enough to fill more than 3 Olympic-sized swimming pools. Just let that sink in for a second. So what exactly is molasses? Well, it's just that thick, dark, sticky syrup, a byproduct of making sugar. It's the sweet stuff you might put in cookies or gingerbread. Seems totally harmless, right? But on one particular day, this simple syrup turned into a deadly weapon. Okay, and that brings us to the absolute heart of this tragedy. The day is January 15th, 1919. It started out like any other day, but it was going to end in a complete and utter catastrophe. Just like that, the tank exploded with absolutely no warning. The steel walls just gave away. People who were there said they heard a deep, rumbling sound, and then these sharp cracks, like machine gun fire. See, the whole structure had been rushed. The steel was too thin, and get this, it was never even properly tested for safety. The company knew it leaked. They just painted it brown to try and hide the drips. And on that day, it all just failed. So what came out of that tank wasn't just a spill. No, it was a wave, a terrifying churning wall of molasses that was 7.6 meters. That's about 25 feet tall. I mean, that's higher than a two-story building. And you're probably picturing a slow, oozing mess, right? Wrong. This wave exploded outwards. It came crashing through the neighborhood at an estimated 56 kilometers per hour. That's 35 miles per hour. It literally moved with the force of a freight train. So you have this bizarre tsunami of syrup tearing through the streets. It smashed into buildings, literally ripping them right off their foundations. It was so powerful, it buckled the steel structure of the elevated railway. It was throwing wagons and debris everywhere. There was absolutely no stopping its initial power. The first blast of destruction was just horrifying. But the real nightmare, the truly awful part, was what came next, in the aftermath. As the wave slowed down and settled, it left behind this deadly, sticky trap. And this is where the real horror began. You see, once that initial force was gone, the molasses didn't just drain away like water. It settled. It turned into this thick, inescapable goop, feet deep in some places. People and animals were trapped in it like quicksand. And the worst part? The sheer stickiness of it clogged their airways. They couldn't breathe. The final human cost was just devastating. 21 people died that day, men, women, and children. Another 150 were badly injured. Entire families were just torn apart. Even horses from a stable nearby were engulfed by the wave. It was a terrible tragedy, all born from something as simple as sweet molasses in corporate negligence. And the cleanup? I mean, can you even imagine? It was a monumental task. It took hundreds of people over 6 months. 6 months! To wash all that sticky molasses from the cobblestone streets, the buildings, even the harbor was stained brown for weeks. And because it was so sticky, rescuers and residents ended up tracking it all over the entire city. And that brings us right back to where we started this whole story. Back to that legend, the idea that the sweet smell of molasses still rises from the ground on those hot summer days. It's like a ghostly reminder of the day the city was flooded with syrup, a scent that's literally soaked into the very fabric of the neighborhood. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Every street in every city has a story. This one just happens to have a strangely sweet and very tragic scent. So, what kind of history might be hiding just beneath the surface, right where you live?